I think that is a very poor example to make. Your child schooling in Dubai, when we are talking about a number of Nigerians in the millions that hardly have bread to eat before they go to sleep. There is no doubt that the president has just stayed for 1 year, but in that 1 year so much has happened. It's as if the president was on a mission to increase the suffering and hardship of Nigerians foisted by the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari. But I also don't want to join the bandwagon of condemnation. So let's find a solution to the situation. And that's the reason why we take our time always to do what we are doing, to see, hoping that policymakers and implementers of government programs may get perspectives that will help them. But in Nigeria, it's different. Once there is a kind of state capture, when the people are ensconced in power, they just go deaf. They don't listen to anybody. They manage power. And the contestation, or rather the contest, the competition right now is to outdo a previous administration in self-enrichment, in disregard for the citizens. Let me tell you, and I borrowed this from this morning's show, when Dr. Abati referred to the fact that why wouldn't the president address his people all this while? In the manner, in the example of Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, on how in addressing demands. I've followed crisis in Africa. I've studied it even at the master's degree level. And I realized that some things come too late. Yes, I don't think it is good to just go ahead and be protesting without end, without a measurable demand. If the Constitution says you've got a right to protest, the Constitution also says that there are ways of changing governments in Nigeria. So first and foremost, those who are protesting should banish it from their mind that they intend to change the regime of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that has been declared constitutionally as president. However, we can't be a country that is at war with itself. Today, the protest, to me, was largely successful, especially in the F.Tete where I live and where I also monitored it real time. And I also saw the Arise team doing a great job, led by Somna Sambo himself, even though he was on the background, tried to give us accurate reports. So it is true that there is not much violence, there's no violence in the protest in the F.Tete. But news coming from across the country indicate that there has been terrible violence. Now, don't forget that even before the date the protest was meant to start, we had started recording violence because we know, especially in northern Nigeria, people who thrive on disorder. So there's no doubt that those protesting to demonstrate that things are not good, for me, are going a great length at making sacrifices for those who are comfortable, for those who are also suffering. Because many Nigerians thrive on order. It is only where there is order that we can make progress, we can have businesses working, we can have government working. But in the case where the people are telling you, sir, and then the responses we get are a litany of the good things, the many, many good things the president has done, which don't translate to anything. There's something wrong. Now, for the president to think that after today's protest, the protesters should just stop without telling them in direct terms that giving them some measure of hope that something different and fundamental will be happening tomorrow, it's very discouraging. I hope that there is peace and order as from now on.
Itself will be self-explanatory.
So I'd like to bring this to Frank, since it looks like NA hasn't actually dealt with what I asked. Frank, do you think the government, the president and his appointees are doing a good job of speaking to the people and having a conversation with the people? Time was, we had programs like The President Explains, President speaking to the people periodically. We suddenly stopped all of that even when the country is in dire straits.
In straight answer to your question, the president and appointees are doing a very bad job. Now, I will do everything possible within my might to protect the authority and the person of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with respect. And that is the symbol of unity of Nigeria. So I am not going to attack the President. But with the likes of people like Bayo Nanuga, this evening, I was appalled at what he was posting on Twitter, that is X, depicting pictures of persons who are looting. He seems quite so without empathy. I said, look, are these the kind of people who advise our president? At this critical stage, he brings himself to the point where he's sharing pictures of people who are looting and then trying to justify how much of a failure the protest is. I said the president must be having a real bad day. And I'm not surprised. Because if former President Buhari was accused of nepotism, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appears to be doubling down on Lagos-style nepotism, where he carried this Lagos crowd that he appears to have trusted, the Onanugas and the rest of them, the Wale Eduns, to come and be running a highly diverse country like this. And that's the reason why somebody who's not doing anything but politics is able to send her daughter to school in Dubai, whereas the larger population of Nigerians, 90% of them are suffering. Because you will be referring to fake figures. So please, I'll answer your question again in more direct terms. I intend to diffuse the tension. I'm here to see if we can calm things down. But for goodness sake, the president's ministers are a bunch of damn failures. I mean, look at all the numbers you call. If I were advising the president, I'd say, President, go tell the people, use your ministers as scapegoat. I've said it several times. Sack your entire cabinet. Look at your country. Look at the perception the world is having about you. And you keep having this good intention about your people, but there is clear case of failure of governance, whether you like it or not. I mean, why should it be that at the times we had in northern Nigeria, for example, that is ridden with poverty and insecurity, and then times go worse than that? And then the president is a console. It's not, these advisors are not telling him to say anything, and the spokesmen are not communicating. They're out of touch with what is happening. Please, I really wish we don't have to be a country that is fighting against ourselves. We should be ashamed. But look at this. Somebody is telling you that we're suffering and dying, and then you sit in one place, comfortable and earning salaries, and they're telling a different story completely because you have access to government perks and privileges. No, let's come down and see we can find solution to these things. And it lies in one man. Look at all of them. We didn't elect them. We didn't elect Onanuga. We didn't elect these ministers. We elected one man. I gave him authority and expect in all presumption that he acts in the best interest of Nigeria. But he cannot be everywhere. And we see all these people who are meant to communicate his programs, a bunch of damn failures. Right. I apologize for we don't have to raise the tension.
Yes, indeed. I mean, there's no better time to try to calm things down, F.Tete. Now, Frank's argument, alongside the argument of many people, even before this protest, before this day one, is that the government, especially the president, is not engaging enough. It's not engaging Nigerians enough to use comforting words, to make them see reason why they should not lose patience. And the president's handlers are not even helping matters. Today, for example, many people think, look, this is a wasted opportunity, a lost opportunity by the president to address Nigerians and say, look, I have heard you loud and clear. Things are going to change for the better going forward, rather than allow this protest to go into day 2, day 3, and day 10. Only God knows.